All right.
So,
I'm old Silky and he's Snags. Welcome to the fucking show.
Just totally destroy
Hey
the opening.
there!
you got it backwards, man.
And I'm old Silky.
Mr. Clean here checking in.
In the intro of our Tool episode, we got Mr. Clean back with us. The cat that talked to Judas Priest with us. Actually, before we started this rambling recording, he was telling us about listening to the new Priest album over and over again on a flight to Australia. So how many times you listen to the new Priest album?
Probably at least like 3 times on the way over and 3 times on the way back and 1 time in the airport.
Nice.
And,
it's called Invincible Shield. And there's bonus tracks, three extra ones. I pre-ordered the alternate vinyl. It's that showed up, but there's a 7-inch single that came only with that alternate cover, and that still has not shown up. So I did get an email about some production issues, but I'm like, where the hell is my 45? You know.
Do they have a propeller hat and a bumper sticker?
No, it did not come with a rubber snake, but the just that collectible 45 I had to try and get.
Oh, you got to, man, yeah.
It debuted like at number 2 on the charts, I think. I mean, it's like crazy. It's this band that never could seem to get that number 1 thing going.
Yeah.
Even when you look back and you're like, how does that was not number 1? And now it's like a phenomenon. Not actually. It's
what
cool.
I still enjoy with Priest, even Maiden, Testament, you know, they put something out and it's still them. It's still solid, very valid. It's not going through the motions. Some bands will, get back together or just continue to put out some watered down garbage and they don't know when to let up, and they're not.
I guess that's a segue into tonight's topic.
Yes.
We're going a band that's got like 19 albums to one that freaking can't squeeze an album out of these guys.
Yeah.
Right. I was one of the documentaries I was watching about Tool. There's some fucking idiot fans were sending them death threats before Fear Inoculum came out.
That's a good idea.
They were like, we're gonna kill you if you don't release another album. Their fans kind of remind me like hardcore Tool fans, and let's just piss them all off right off the bat, because that's what we do. Kind of remind me of fucking Trekkies, There's just like.
Actually, Maynard probably thinks it's funny, that kind of thing.
Does.
He's got a warped sense of humor. He probably thinks it's great.
It's funny. Anyone who is in, I mean, we're all fans of something, but I like to think that I take it with a grain of salt. I enjoy, Star Wars, but I know they're just movies, and
but you do have to buy every little version of Judas Priest paraphernalia that
Well, within reason. I did not buy the Screaming for Vengeance statue that I don't know what that called. It was crazy. Their eyes lit up. It was badass. But
wow, see that
way too much money.
The Hellion.
Yeah.
I want a fucking hell. What's it, like a foot tall Hellion you put in your living room?
That comic book. They're doing the Motorhead thing coming up.
Yeah, I saw that. That looks good. Man.
That same company did a Screaming for Vengeance one, and I don't know how much it was, but it was like $200 or $300. You could get a Hellion coming at you, and the eyes lit up, and it was badass, but it was like way too much money, so had to let that one slide.
So we've got 3 levels of Tool fandom here. We've got me, who's the casual observer. We've got old Silky, who saw them live once and has kind of been into them for a while, but probably not not his top couple bands. And then we've got Mr. Clean, who, as long as I've known him, will not shut the fuck up about Tool and Judas Priest are the two bands I hear him talking about the most. And
I tell you, in preparing for tonight's show, I did a playlist like we do, and I have to say, Tool is very much a modern Pink Floyd in that they continue to just blow your mind with each album that comes out. The consummate musicians, very much like Rush, in just their ability to really, do the complicated riffage, and they've got 5 studio albums, 1 EP, and 1 box set, which was that
live album, and then Salival, which is not on fucking Spotify.
And it was.
If I was a real Tool fan, I'd have 6 different copies.
Right. I had Salival. I think I had a digital version, iTunes or something, but it's gone. Like it was been pulled.
Oh shit! They For Unknown Truth did, huh? Or For a Different Kind of Truth.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Now a lot of my music is saved on an external hard drive, so I know I have all that to pull off, but lack of a computer, I can't really get to that stuff right now. Which
I got it on CD. So I could bring it in, Craig, and you could
bring it in, and I'll burn it and then Dropbox it to this guy.
Do you have the DVD as well?
I don't remember if I have the DVD or not.
Because it can't. So you would, if you have it, it would be with a VHS or with a DVD in like a box set thing. And they're on eBay right now for a crazy amount of money. Not that you'd want to sell it, but if the collectability of some of these Tool items are crazy.
I bought all the music I could get
as it came out.
The last one, Fear Inoculum online, it's just a different world. And by having the online version, you have 10 songs. For Fear Inoculum, the CD had 7 songs, and then the digital version added Lightning Against Fear, Legion, Inoculant, and Mocking Beat. Those were the digital versions, and then the vinyl only had 9 songs. So it's just interesting that they would put out 3 separate versions. Stuff like that pisses me off as I get into a band. I just want to hear the new songs, and then you got to buy the record or these different versions.
What's funny is in the digital world, the hidden tracks they had on back in the CD era.
Yeah,
you never knew that a hidden track was in the digital world. The song ends and there's 10 minutes left on the timeline there. You're like, fuck, hidden track. I got to skip a couple minutes to when the music starts.
Especially with Tool.
All those bands. That's a big thing in the 90s. Is kind of a trend.
Anyone who got. I had an original version of Undertow, Tool's first studio album. It had 69 tracks on it. So It had 1 through 9, which was the first 9 songs. Then track 10 through track 68 was like a second in length, and it would just go down. And you're thinking something's wrong with your CD player. And then track 69 is a song called Disgustipated, which is listed as track 10 on the album. When that song ends, it's followed by 7 minutes of crickets.
Yeah, that's all on the streaming version.
Yeah. And I think I've only heard that song once or twice because it's just so 8 minutes of crickets.
I've just I have my Tool playlist on Spotify. It's just all the albums except for the live one. I've just had it on repeat for like the last 4 days. So I just let the crickets roll while I'm working.
Do you? I just can't. I can't do. I'm like, get that shit off in here. But it's really for me, ions or negative ions and disgustipated are the only two songs I don't listen to.
You skip over. So let's do this. Let's go back in time in Mr. Clean's life, since he's the biggest Tool fanatic on the show tonight. And hip us to the first time you discover these cats, if you remember.
Yeah. So I remember it pretty clearly growing up in Atlanta. You know, we pretty much had AC/DC, Bad Company, ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin. We didn't get
96 Rock. He's describing as 96 Rock.
Yeah, so 96
all the
Rock.
usual suspects.
We had just it was just rock, and not a whole. And I didn't listen to anything else, so I'd never heard of. They didn't even play Metallica, in Atlanta. We didn't know about Metallica. If you were listening to the radio, if you weren't in the music scene,
we didn't get electricity till after the Olympics were here.
That's right.
Thanks
to the damn Yankees burning our city down. But
carpetbaggers.
But what happened was after getting out at Auburn University, I started my career traveling and working, and one of my college buddies got a job in advertising. He got a marketing degree, and he got a job with Foot Cone and Belting, the company that did like Coors Light and Pepsi and Levi's and Taco Bell, like a huge advertising company.
Agency.
Yeah. So he moved to freaking Los Angeles, lived in a boarding house, like a mansion, but like with 6 other dudes kind of in the same spot he was in. Because like they don't pay you in the advertising business. It's a weeding out process, so they make you like just really pay you like shit. But
the term you're looking for is intern.
Yeah, kind of like that. But if you make it through it, and you can make it big in the ad business, and so he needed a supplemental job, and so he got a job at Tower Records. And there in
Atlanta,
in Beverly Hills,
dude, he moved to LA. Follow the story.
Sorry.
He was living in a mansion that this lady owned with like 6 other dudes. He had his own bedroom, had to share a bathroom. But Steven Spielberg's house was on like this big bluff, like right over top of like the house he was in. Nice. I mean, it was a mansion, but this lady was putting all these poor, broke advertising, guys, and it was still expensive. So
was this the Tower Records on Sunset Strip?
Yeah.
That's where Mick Mars worked when, I guess his name was Bob Deal, or was it either Nikki Sixx or Mick Mars worked there? I think it was Mick Mars.
Yeah, I don't think Nikki Sixx had a job.
Yeah, Nikki Sixx is Mick Mars.
Yeah, but so I went, I flew out to California for work and rented a car and hooked up with my buddy, and they were at a company Christmas party on the Queen Mary ship down there at Long Beach Port. And then we left there and drove all over Hollywood and got stoned and drank beer. And of course, as usual, he didn't have any weed, so I brought mine out there, So he was that kind of friend. And
this is a poor guy hanging around a lot of rich people.
Yeah.
And mooching off your weed. I'm getting a picture.
Off me. And but he said, man, you got to listen. I got some music you got to listen to. And he put on some Metallica that I had never heard. I knew about Metallica, but I never really heard Metallica. And I was listening to Metallica. This is the early 90s, like 92 or 3 or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Jesus. Put on
Caius. Put on some Caius. I'd never heard Caius before. I was like,
that brown record or gold and black letters across. Caius.
Yeah, exactly.
Great album.
Yeah, and I was like, holy crap, man! I never heard this before.
Caius
and then he put on
amazing. We should probably
put on Undertow. Then he put on the Undertow record or that CD at that time,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, holy cow, this is, who are these guys? Why don't we have this? What's been going on back in Georgia that we don't have this?
Yeah.
So I bought everything. I bought everything from Tower Records out there and brought it back, with me. I bought all the CDs and
at that point you would have had the Opiate EP, and Undertow. Their first demo, 72826, had 6 songs. Crawl Away and Sober would end up on Undertow, and then the other 4 from that demo were different versions on Opiate. Cool and Ugly and Jerk Off were live recordings, so the only way to hear the studio of those would be to have that demo. Which if you look on eBay, that thing's going for like $1,000. The cassette. It's like, what are you going to do with that?
Same shit you do with all the shit you buy off eBay. You're going to put it up.
But I don't drop $1,000 for the shit. It's a
so
bit
there's
much.
Also on YouTube, and we'll link to it on the Click Pit. There's a version of Sober from Maynard's first band, CAD. And it's a video of them singing it. So we'll put that on there.
Yeah. So Tool at the early, pre-95, you had Maynard Keenan, Adam Jones on guitar. Danny Carey was the drummer. Justin Chancellor came in 95, and he's with them now. But Paul D'Amour, 1990 to 1995, was the bass player. And Paul D'Amour and Adam Jones were buddies. And they knew Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine.
Well, they were also kind of rotating there was this band that I totally remember from the 90s, Green Jello.
Yeah, Green Jello. And then Jello sued them and they had to change their name to Green Jelly.
Green Jelly. And I remember hearing about them. Well, Maynard and Danny were actually in Green Jello for a minute. Before they and the only reason Danny's in the band was Adam and Maynard started jamming, and people keep like they had one of these documentaries I watched said they had the drummer from Autograph, which is a fucking weird, was supposed to come jam with them, and they were excited because somebody famous.
Yeah,
and
sure.
He flaked out on them a couple times, and Danny Carey started jamming with him because he felt sorry for them.
Oh,
here we go.
El Condor.
Hello.
El Condor in the house. Hey, El Condor, tell everybody to go to snagsandsilky.com and buy all the merch.
Buy the merchandise.
Very nice.
Buy the merchandise.
Why don't you buy me any of the merchandise?
Okay, you have to pimp the website. Snags
Go
and
to
Silky.
the website so Dad can get me money and give me all the merchandise, please.
I got you a sticker. You got it.
I want more.
You want more.
I want more.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right. Peace out, El Condor.
El Condor, everybody.
Get somebody on camera and you never know what they're going to do.
No, you really don't. But yeah, so Green Jello, I remember, in a kind of like Primus, very complicated riffage, and you could tell they had some talent. But I think, working at Tower and Green Jello came out, and we had that CD, which is worth a lot now because it was Green Jello. Then they had to reissue it as Green Jelly. And we thought that sucked that they caved and changed their name. But it was kind of a novelty act. Kind of playing like the Three Little Pigs. And, it was kind of a joke band is how we took them,
They were on the Gong Show.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they got gong pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they made their name in LA. After that, they did gigs. They were on the
Gong show. We just kind of shrugged them off. They were a quick thing that you knew about or whatever. But I remember seeing, in my mind, I remember seeing copies of that cassette at Tower with the wrench and in the shape of a cock and tool. I don't know if that was legitimately sold or not. It seemed like it was. I know
you talking about you talking about the demo?
Yeah, no, I know they sold it at shows.
And it wasn't an official release.
Right. But I'm saying I swear I saw it at Tower. I don't think I ever had the cassette. It's possible that somebody I worked with had it, and that's when I saw it. Like, hey, check this guy's out, because we did see that a lot. But I just seeing the cover, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. Like I'd seen it, but when Opiate came out, that's when we really started listening to them. In '92, I believe, and that was we played the hell out of it. There's a hidden track on that EP called, it's after Opiate plays. It's called Gaping Lotus Experience. And what's cool is if you had the record, somebody at Tower had the record, and there were 2 tracks. So sometimes you'd play it and it would play the other song, which I'd never heard of.
Like alternate grooves.
It was
in
an
the record.
alternate groove thing. And I'd love to know more if that's supposed to happen every other time, or, right, how that works. But I thought that was crazy. It was really cool.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
So Mr. Clean, so you get into Tool from this trip to LA, buy Undertow, and then you come back to Atlanta, and then you've seen him now like what, 6 times, something like that. I know over the years I've heard you, I'm going to see Tool.
Yeah, I've seen him 6 times, and I remember distinctly I went to my friend from LA had moved back to Atlanta. That didn't work out, so he moved back, and he and some buddies were renting this house in Buckhead, not far from Phipps Plaza.
Nice.
It was really cool pad. And it was like 5 dudes in this big.
In Brookhaven or where?
It was between Brookhaven and Phipps, but closer to Phipps.
Okay.
Just off of Peachtree, like 1 block down, and the house is right there.
Oh, nice.
Tyler Perry's house was just over the meadow, across the.
Yeah, this is a cool spot, but I remember it was Matt and John Timberlake and David back from Los Angeles and me. We met at the house, and the plan was we're going to go to Tasco Mexican restaurant over on Roswell Road. That's the place to go to. They got the best cheese dip, and it's still there. They still have the best damn cheese dip. Roswell Road, inside the perimeter, kind of getting closer down to Chastain and that area.
Yeah.
So we jump in. Timberlake's had a convertible, and DR pops in. We call him DR. His name is David Ryan. He's like, we got to jam this on the way to Tasco. And of course, we had a big joint as well. Pops in Anima.
This is why we all use aliases on the podcast.
Pops in the Anima CD, which I didn't know was out.
Oh, wow.
And so 96.
We got through like 2 songs before we were at the Mexican restaurant, and we just sat in the parking lot and listened to the whole thing. And
That's great.
It was just like, this is the best album I've ever heard.
And Justin Chancellor's the bass player on that, and the bass on Anima is sick. It's just so. I
love bands, and there are a few bands like this. They early on toured with Rage Against the Machine and Rollins Band a lot. They would open for them, and those are 2 other bands that kind of have that sound where you can the bass has a significant part of the sound.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not underneath the guitar. It's a heavy counterbalance to some wild guitar, but the bass just has this really thick.
Well, it's that kind of mix that Maiden has, where you're going to hear Steve Harris. Don't think you're not going to,
Yeah.
You're gonna hear some Steve.
Yeah, but Justin Chancellor just really, I think that's when they really took off for me.
Well, did you hear the story about when they asked? He was in this band called Peach that used to open for them when they would go over to England. And
Chancellor?
And they called him when basically what happened with the original bass players, he wasn't getting along with them. Their personalities weren't really jiving, and he wanted to have more input into the music, and apparently he was resistant to some of the more experimental leanings they were going in. So that was a mutual parting the ways. They called Justin Chancellor, and he was so intimidated. His immediate reaction was, "I can't. No, sorry." Internally he was thinking, "I couldn't handle that. I can't handle that." But he told them, he's like, "Yeah, I'm real busy. I got a lot going on. I really can't do it." And then he tells his brother or friend, I forget who, somebody close to him. He's like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? You need to call them back right now."
Yeah, asshole. Yeah.
So he called them back. He's like, "Can I change my mind?" And they were like, "Yeah, man, get your ass out here." So,
that's a great story. I mean, I'm sure they would have continued on with anybody, but I think Justin really brings severe ass kicking to that band.
Yeah, he can make that bass sound like a guitar also.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he gets some really, really incredible sounds.
Yeah, and there's only a few bass players that really have done that. Our Lord and Savior, Lemmy, being one.
Lemmy played his bass exactly like a guitar. He would do bar chords. He intentionally wanted it to sound like a rhythm guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
So into 2000 with Salival live video album, had a 56-page book with stills from their videos, and their videos were insane.
Yeah, that's another aspect. There's a whole visual
other
side.
offshoot of this band where these animated claymation took everything from Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer video and went real dark.
Well, what they did is they David Lynched it. It's like Sledgehammer meets Eraserhead, basically.
Yeah.
And their visual aesthetic and a lot of that comes from Adam working in the makeup and special effects field and film. So he kind of just ran with that creative. And then you just got Maynard's weird sensibility completely infusing all that stuff.
I would say mid 93, 94 on MTV, catching the Tool video. And just you just sat there like, oh my God, you almost don't even hear the music. You're watching the video, it was just crazy.
Y'all remember, it was before that, but it was like early MTV, like Max Headroom, Paranormia.
Sure. Yeah.
That was
Paranoia. I think that's.
Yeah. That was messed up. First time I saw that.
Yeah. Art of Noise had.
Let me guess. You were smoking weed, and you saw Max Headroom. First time
I ever took acid. Max Headroom came on. I was looking at the shag carpet, rolling like an ocean, thinking this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Watching the wood grain, watching the clock slide down a wall.
Sure,
and then I look over at the TV, and there's Max Headroom going on there, and
doing all this shit.
Freaked me out.
Max Headroom.
We had to go outside. It was like, oh shit, I got to go outside.
Max Headroom was great in a couple of videos, and then he had his own show. It just went too far for me, where I was like, okay, it's a bit much,
I never wanted to see it again.
If we're going to talk about tripping, we got to back up and talk about Third Eye on Anima. and Bill Hicks,
Third
the
Eye.
whole relationship with Bill Hicks. We did a Bill Hicks episode, and we did mention it a little bit on there. His friendship with Maynard and the cats from Tool. They were really inspired by him, and actually Maynard was doing open mic nights for a while because he was.
I never knew that. Until you sent that link. I was watching it and I was like, holy shit.
We've got a few little Tool mini documentaries we'll link from the Click Pit. But yeah, he was doing open mic nights inspired by Bill Hicks, who was a genius. Go back and listen to our Bill Hicks episode if you haven't yet. But there's a lot of humor, throughout Tool albums, and if you listen, and let's definitely get to that. But if you listen to Third Eye, you've got Bill Hicks ranting on there. His whole
it's
monologue about if you're against drugs, well then you might as well throw out all the good albums you have, because
go home to your record collection and
all those guys were high as shit.
Yeah, real fucked up. Maynard, his mission statement about Tool is a quote that I've always loved. This I'm going to paraphrase, but he says, "Tool is exactly what it sounds like. It's a big dick. It's a wrench. We are your tool. Use us as a catalyst in your process of finding out whatever it is you need to find out, whatever it is you're trying to achieve." So it's applying music to your life. Use us as your tool, And
that's interesting.
That fits in with where Mr. Clean was going. I'll let him pick it up about the humor in their music, because you compare them to people like King Crimson, who are a big influence on Tool.
Yeah, their influences are like Pink Floyd to Sex Pistols. A true blender of chaos is how I see them.
But you look at bands like King Crimson or some of the world music they like, and it's all very serious. But then you got to splash in some Beavis and Butthead here and there, and then you have Tool. Because go ahead, pick it up with the humor thing. What you're about to talk about before.
Shit, man, just listen to 10,000 Days, where the song about the alien guy getting abducted by aliens.
Yeah,
and he's like, and they looked at me with these almond, eyes. And he's like, and I remembered to write that down, and it just, the whole song is so funny. He's like, they picked me to be their leader. I didn't even graduate from fucking high school, and it's funny like that. And then you have kind of, songs like Stink Fist, and, you're talking about putting your wrist in, and then you're up to your elbow, and then your shoulder deep into the borderline, it's kind of like, God, dog, man, are you really singing that?
That's
how do you make that sound so good?
That's what I called the playlist was Stink Fist.
Yeah, we got a good Tool. Did you add the songs that Mr. Clean said to add?
They actually were on there. I did not get Third Eye, so I put that on. They're all on there now.
All right, cool. So another one is
there. Obviously, I may have probably missed it.
D.I.R. von Satan, where you got it sounds like a Hitler rally, this German ranting, it's translated, it's a recipe for cookies, so
nice.
Yeah, that's
a lot of shit like that.
They're live to wrap up Salival. They do an amazing cover of No Quarter, and I really wanted to put that on the playlist, and it's just not digital.
So what I'm going to do is it's on YouTube. I'm going to link right under the playlist. I'm going to link that from
just so people can check that out.
Fucking amazing 10-minute ferocious version of No Quarter.
And they kind of do a bit of noodling before, and then right when they start the riff, the intro that John Paul Jones does, it's like half the audience immediately recognizes it. It's
fuck yeah, it's
so
Zeppelin,
good,
man.
Yeah,
we have I'm gonna just if all goes well, knock on wood, we have a Zep Ep coming up. So you'll have to
No, we
keep
definitely
paying
will.
attention. The Zep Ep is on the way. But yeah, it's amazing. Mr. Clean has officially deemed it better than the Zep version.
I think it's better. Now, last thing about Humor is the that very first, the EP where he's singing, I can't say what I want to, even though I'm not serious. And then he's like, so why don't you go fuck yourself? It's just, it's funny as shit, man. He's like, just like, man, I've always wanted to say that, to somebody like in public.
Blast somebody.
You're my tool you're my outlet for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what he was saying, his mission statement for the band.
So I want to hear why Mr. Clean thinks their version of No Quarter, and I could see it. I'm on the fence about it, but why do you think their version of No Quarter is better than the original?
It's a pretty bold statement to say that I like it better than the original, but they have better technology, they have better equipment, they have better sound.
They definitely rock it harder than Zeppelin. One of the more mellow Zeppelin songs.
I prefer Maynard James Keenan's vocal to Robert Plant, even though I'm a giant, Led Zeppelin's in my, top 3, probably.
Another band you talk about a lot, yeah.
So I'm Led Zeppelin. I got, just everything they put out, I have Led Zeppelin crazy. But yeah, I just think they are so good of a band that they just did it better.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely more. It's got a ferocious edge to it, where
it's harder, it's edgier and harder, which
they really just dig into it and crank it up.
The power chords are a lot harder and crisper, and you hear that, and it's just jamming, man. I don't, Led Zeppelin copied people too, right? So
hey, absolutely,
they did better than their.
Unlike Tool, Led Zeppelin didn't give the original writers any credit, so at least Tool admits that was written by Page and Plant. But
yeah, right. But yeah, that's a pretty bold statement. That's one of Led Zeppelin's best freaking songs.
Oh yeah, that whole they were flawless. Now in 2001, Lateralus comes out. I had moved back to Atlanta. Phillips Arena, they played with the Melvins opening.
That would have been a killer show. That would have been fucking great.
I got dragged. Somebody, I had just got back in town, and Atlanta's our stomping grounds. So somebody had an extra ticket, and I went. Were you there, Mr. Clean?
Yeah, that's the first time I saw Tool in concert.
So you were there. That's killer, dude.
It's also
there's about 5 shows from the 80s. Me and him have realized we were both out
right
at the same time.
Do you remember Crover coming out during Triad? That's what I remember. But
he remembers the drummer from the Melvins came up and jammed.
I was with a hot chick. And she had her hands down my pants during the Tool.
So really, you didn't hear any of the show.
It was probably the wildest concert experience.
Touch and go. It was touch and go.
It was touch and go.
Touching a lot, yeah. And
she was she was really into Tool.
Yeah, my hands were busy. My hands were busy too. So
lefty loosey, righty tighty, right?
But the thing was. The thing what we got away with was because nobody would take their eyes off the stage.
There you go.
And it was wild because the first half of the show, Maynard is behind a screen. You can't even see him, but you can see his silhouette.
Very Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
very much.
And it's Pink Floyd. What's up? Why is he your lead singer? You can't even freaking see this guy, and it was kind of weird, but.
Yeah,
made you just listen, and then then later he comes out, and but yeah, I remember they had an intermission and they had these ropes hanging down from the ceiling, and these crazy like gymnastic type women in these skin tight suits were crawling up and down these ropes and going
Cirque
up and
du
down,
Soleil
and
type.
Yeah,
Type
Cirque du
Soleil
Soleil,
type stuff.
absolutely.
And I was like, this is nuts, man.
And again, Pink Floyd, you just got so much of a show, where they did a lot of shit that had nothing to do with the musicians. You know, it was
Yep.
It blew your mind. And all of their albums have come out in very strange packaging, collectible packaging. I know Fear Inoculum there were all kind of crazy editions of that that folded out and did a lot of stuff. But
Lateralus had a holographic image on it.
Yeah.
It had like holographic gatefold thing.
Yeah, that was great. Great record. 10,000 Days. It was like 5 years went by. You were like, what the hell is going on? Now there's some legal stuff, Snags.
Yeah, they got into a couple legal battles. One was with the guy who originally designed their original logo, and then they had an insurance company who they thought was going to cover the damages, and then the insurance company actually sued them for, I don't know all the technical. So then they're in a battle with their own insurance company. It cost them millions of dollars.
Jesus.
And there was at one point, the reason why Maynard starts A Perfect Circle is because they were barred from releasing anything else as Tool while all this legal shit was going on. And I don't know, I think they had an issue with the original record company too.
Mm-hmm.
So that released Opiate. So there's a lot of shit going on, and he basically was like, well, I'm just going to start another band. He started a band with his guitar tech, and that's how A Perfect Circle came about. And then they were way more successful than they thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, Judith is a phenomenal song. There's a bunch of
That's a concert, man. They're going to be April 9th, at Phillips, or no, Amaris, the Perfect Circle, Primus, and Pussifer, all on the stage together. Next week.
Snags, you got to go to that, dude.
Like next Tuesday night.
Yeah, he's been lobbying me. I might go. Yeah,
you might go. Jesus,
I might go. Yeah.
No, because you'll come home and you'll be like, "Oh my god, it's amazing."
Yeah, we saw Mastodon a couple years ago. Goddamn, that was like 2 years ago at this point. Yeah, that was a fucking killer show. Talk about a light show.
They're like the Sword. They're just so fucking good,
Yeah.
Didn't they play with Opeth? Wasn't it Opeth and Mastodon?
I think it was, yeah.
Man, it was rocking. Dude,
that sounds awesome, man.
Some Swedish death metal and some freaking Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
All with great light shows, and the stage shows were just fucking killer. Too.
Loud as shit too. Mastodon's loud.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So what's your favorite album by Tool, Snags and Silky?
I love Anima. I want to say Lateralus just because that's the album I saw, and just played the bejesus out of Lateralus. But I'd have to maybe Anima, because that's got H on it, I believe, and Anima's a great song. Living out in California, they played that song on the radio all the time, and the whole Learn to Swim thing just tied into Bill Hicks a lot, and I just paired it up.
Kind of another example of their sick humor.
Yes, exactly.
That's one of my favorite Tool songs. I mean, Anima is because of that the lyrics. And it's a phenomenal song. Anyway, the music is incredible.
Yeah.
I've been being the more casual observer of the three of us. I've been marathoning their whole discography, like I said, over the last week. over and over again. And honestly, I like Fear Inoculum the most because it's got so many experimental, just weird little fucking side tracks where they go musically, and then they fucking close it out with Tempest, which is just fucking rocking. I just like the rhythm, the soundscape and the rhythm of the whole album and how it all fits together.
The Tempest, man, that song is incredible. It's like they held Adam Jones back for the whole album.
Right.
Like Cage. All right, dude.
All your amps, all your
this
pedals.
Is your song, buddy. Turn it loose. And that guitar work on that song is just freaking
it's amazing.
The best.
And then before that, you're getting stuff that almost sounds like world music. You know, it's just the variety.
Fear Inoculum.
The song Fear Inoculum is rocking too. It starts off rocking. Yeah.
That album came out 13 years after 10,000 Days.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Pissed me off. I was mad for 13 years.
There's a great Joe Rogan. There's a great Joe Rogan episode where
it's crazy to me that it took them 13 years to get that out. And I kind of felt those songs had been in their, finishing stages years back. That I think they had all that ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, they had a long time to work on it. There's a great Joe Rogan episode where he's interviewing Maynard right as that album is dropping, basically,
right.
And because the big change that happened in those 13 years was streaming became the primary way to release music. And that's why they even started fucking paying attention to streaming. They were obviously distracted over those last, decade with the legal stuff. And there was probably disagreement in the band about streaming. It was at one time, kids, you won't believe this. That was a controversial thing.
Well, you didn't have AC/DC in any of the streaming sites for years because Angus was like, fuck you, buy the records.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And so Fear Inoculum comes out and they have to address the streaming thing just part of a standard record release in 2019. And so that's why then the whole catalog drops on streaming. But the Joe Rogan search Maynard Keenan, Joe Rogan on Spotify. He's been on Joe Rogan 3 times. And that interview from around 2019 it's really good. And the cool thing about it too is he talks a lot about all his side businesses. He's kind of like one of these guys like Gene Simmons or Elon Musk. And I know those are 2 totally different people, but I'm not comparing what they do, but I'm comparing the type of person who, if you look at their little appointment book or their Google Calendar or whatever, it's going to be fucking packed because they're doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And they talk a lot about all the other stuff he does in that interview.
Yeah, I think a lot of creative people cannot just sit home. They're constantly into different projects. The thing that I noticed several years ago, they said, we're, probably back in 2019, somebody, either Adam Jones, somebody said, we're gonna, album number 6 won't take as long. And then recently somebody said that they're probably gonna get in the studio this year,
this summer,
to do album number 6.
Maynard is, I saw some news today. He said, man, we can't do that again. We're probably gonna get going this summer, so that's pretty good.
I mean, possibly this time next year it'll be album number 6.
Now, one thing interesting about Fear Inoculum, did it not seem just kind of eerie that the title track where they're talking about contagion and inoculum and then like a couple months later, COVID and the world fucking shuts down.
Oh, you saying that they're part of the Illuminati?
Seems like it.
Right there with the Simpsons.
Okay. Yes.
Predicting. Yeah.
Homer Simpson and Maynard Keenan are leading. I think they're the co-leaders of the Illuminati, from what I've heard.
You can't deny that happened. That they came out with that song. And that happened.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
that's wackadoodle.
So from like the demos through Opiate and Undertow, these 5 albums are just spotless for the most part. There's like I have 2 that I don't like. Are there any songs that Mr. Clean doesn't really dig? Or
yeah, they do. They do some. I think it's part of their kind of warped sense of humor. They're kind of got that kind of mentality. Look at their animations, this warped. The music is incredible, but they have to throw in these little sound interludes that are just weird, just to annoy you on purpose. It's like, man, if you can sit through like 4 minutes of just this one weird buzzing sound.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm
like, super awesome song's going to come on.
Yeah, I literally remove that just like Tattoo off A Different Kind of Truth. Don't need it. Thanks. I heard it once. Cute.
Yeah, so
next.
They do that kind of stuff, but man, it's not too many. I cannot name a song, for theirs, like a serious song that I don't like.
Yeah.
And they're perfectionists. They try to nail like everything. And when you see them in concert, it's exactly the same thing. They're so freaking tight. And their producers are like, wow, it only took 3 takes, to record, the average song, in Anima.
Really? See, that's great because
music, great musicians. They just knock it out.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd would get in the studio, argue for 5 months, manage to eke out 3 songs, and then they would tack on a song at the beginning and at the end and call it Wish You Were Here.
If you read up, that's another band. Mr. Clean loves Pink Floyd. So Mr. Clean is a Pink Floyd fanatic. So when we do our Pink Floyd episode, we got to bring this cat back. But the thing about Pink Floyd is if you read up on them, especially towards the end, it was just the band against Roger Waters. He was just
Roger couldn't even
massive prick.
Roger really hated Richard Wright, which is terrible. Just fucking
he's a dick.
Very integral part of the band.
He drove that band. I tell you what, though.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd without the keyboards. How do you have Pink Floyd without the keyboards?
The wall, and the final cut. I have a hard time listening to, and I've told you both this not while it was being recorded, but I'll say this for the record because I only need to hear that Roger Waters' father died in the war once. I don't need to hear it over and over again in every fucking song. I'm sorry your father died in the war.
Yeah, everybody's father has died, Roger.
Yeah. But for me, Pink Floyd, it's Metal and Animals, and of course Dark Side of the Moon are their masterpieces. And then it starts descending into Roger Waters' father died in the war, and he's really pissed off about it. Well, and I know it's sacrilegious to say about The Wall, but I can't.
I love The Wall because in high school I watched.
We're doing our Pink Floyd episode right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Realistically, I watched Song Remains the Same, Pink Floyd, The Wall, Where the Buffalo Roam, and Taxi Driver over and over and over and over. I've seen The Wall so many times, and I just played that album. I would go to sleep and put that album on. I played The Wall all the time. So for me...
Yeah, but you were in high school, just to give people perspective, he was like this depressed kid with bloodshot eyes who kept a bottle of Wild Turkey in his locker. So, of course, you're going to be listening to The Wall over and over again.
Sure. But
Craig, you're saying that The Wall and the Final Cut is actually a triple album.
Yeah, it really is. It really is an extension. I'll agree with him there. Never really got into the Final Cut as much.
Not now. John's fucking great, but
yeah,
the rest of it.
And when the Tigers broke free, is, I think, one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs. So
yeah, there's good shit on those albums, but as a whole, they don't stand up to Metal and Animals and Dark Side of the Moon. Not even fucking close.
No.
I wish you were here.
Wish you were here.
Oh, wish you were here. Yeah, that's another masterpiece. They had a grand slam like the Stones did, and that was it. It was those four.
Yeah, Obscured by Clouds is incredible.
That's a great one. I love
more obscure, in my opinion. I really think those four.
Yep.
Wish You Were Here, Metal, Dark Side, and fucking Animals. And let's save the rest of it for the Pink Floyd episode.
I think Animals is my favorite one, and we've really wrapped up Pink Floyd right there. I mean, there's really zero else to say.
I think Tool probably likes Pink Floyd.
Era. There's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, okay.
But anyways, yeah, Tool's influenced by Pink Floyd, so we'll try to steal it back by saying that.
And with Tool, to me, their sense of humor is like right there with Frank Zappa. So I kind of, for me, Tool is like Pink Floyd meets Frank Zappa, and throw in the Sex Pistols, and you've got Tool, you know.
But when you have songs like Maynard's Dick and Prison Sex and things like that, it's
Maynard was a big Monty Python fan, so it totally makes sense.
You go.
Yeah.
Python's the shit for sure. But so that's Tool, kids. Any parting?
I want to hear if Mr. Clean has anything more to say, though.
Yeah, any parting?
I would just say, whenever you get a chance, if you could see Tool live, that you need to do it. You may not know much about Tool as a band.
Are you throwing in the chick who fills you up? Does she come as part of the deal, or you just have to go by?
No, but I saw the Fear Inoculum tour 3 times before COVID shut things down, and I got the closest I got was at in Memphis. I think we were 4 rows back from the.
I remember that when we were going out of town to see them. Yeah,
4 or 6, maybe we were 6 rows back.
Yeah,
expensive, but man, I'm telling you what, there's just they don't miss a note.
No,
it is so clean. The sound is incredible.
And that's another Pink Floyd reference. Their sound has to be top shelf.
But also, you know what they're known for is their time signatures. Or you got 3 musicians playing different time, stuff, and a drummer playing 3 different times.
Yeah, you got one drummer playing one time signature with his foot, one with his left hand, and one with his right hand.
They're
and yet it sounds, amazing. And live, they don't miss a freaking note. You don't hear like a missed note or nothing.
It's like I saw Rush a bunch of times, and they're the same thing, just immaculate.
I was gonna say Danny Carey is the heir apparent to Neil Peart for sure.
Yeah.
He is now the best drummer and the best rock drummer in the world.
Yeah,
for
after the solo.
Like you say, Mr. Clean, see Tool, they might be touring this time next year,
I want to go see them in Europe. That's their next tour starts in Europe here during the summer. It'd be fun to freaking go to
Hamburg or
one of those London or somewhere and see Tool. That would be
Amsterdam. Get baked.
Amsterdam. That's that would be incredible.
Do you have any other live Tool stories before we wrap it up?
No, man. I like I said, I saw him. I've seen him 5 or 6 times. Saw the last 2 or 3 times for sure. Memphis, Denver, Colorado, Atlanta. Just you can tell, like when you listen to an album or one of their live shows, that they want to get it exactly right. Like they don't
Perfectionist.
compromise
Yeah.
for anything. It's like and when you think you think a song might be over, hang on.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be kicking into another gear, and none of it sounds the same. You know, every album is different, every song is different, but all just all incredible. You like 19 Priest albums, you can hear some similar sounds, in a bunch of different albums, which is all great because we like rocking out. But on Tool, you will not hear a song that sound the same as another song, and
the song does not remain the same.
Does not remain the same. That could be the wrap up line for the podcast.
That's good.
There you go. All right. Thanks for coming on. We'll bring you back for the Pink Floyd episode for sure. And that's Tool, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Check out the website, snagsandsilky.com. Back your truck up, buy all the merch.
Hoodies, stickers, t-shirts, mugs.
Propeller hats.
Yeah.
Rubber snakes.
Yeah.
And
green jello.
Green jello.
Yeah, we've got Snags and Silky branded green jello.
It's probably in the back of the freezer there.
Yeah,
or jelly. Sorry, jello. Sorry, jelly.
Yeah.
We're sticking with the OG. So more shit planned, more shit coming up. Some good episodes coming up, so stay tuned. Peace out.
Yeah, I think this is episode 58.
I think it is. Let me verify that real quick before we jump out of here. Hold on. Because, we got to say what the episode was accurately. 58. Peace out. Episode 60 coming up.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Mr. Clean.
Later.
Thanks, brothers.